BlogTalk Radio.
Hello everybody, this is Tara introducing the show, and I am now going to introduce Chrism. Chrism, are you there?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you, Chrism.
Okay,
welcome.
Good. Let's go ahead and start out the way we normally do, and here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. My name is Chrism, and right now I am calling from a home that was built in 1820 in colonial New England, Pennsylvania, United States. The owner of the home is Brooke, and she is here. She's made her bow. And why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Okay, and we are joined by her beautiful, beautiful, and very, very friendly pit bull, Mins. So hello, Mins, who is just patiently ignoring me. So I'm coming through, and Santara, can you tell if I'm still being heard? Is this happening? Are people on the chat room able to hear this?
Right, Chrism. Well, I have the chat room up in front of me. Hi, guys, in the chat room. Hello, everybody. Atlantis Seeker, Elizabeth, Fashji, Helly, Knowing Star Woman, Mary Jean, Tanya, Cole, Get 1101 and Get 1107. So please, Chrism doesn't have you in front of him today, but I do. So please let me know if you can hear. Elizabeth says, I am just now able to hear. So you can hear me, Elizabeth, and can you hear Chrism? Chrism, will you speak?
Yes. So we're testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, Mary Jean says it sounds perfect. So thank you very much, guys.
Wonderful.
And everybody is now saying yes. Everybody can hear you, and they can hear myself. So I'll just begin, as I always do, by welcoming everybody and also letting you know where you can go if you want to make a donation to Kundalini Awakening Systems and to support the work that Chrism does. The place on the internet is www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, you will see that donate button. And once you press that, it's really very easy after that to make a donation. As we always say, there is no pressure for anybody to make a donation, but when a person wants to and when they are able to, it is very gratefully received, because donations really are what keeps this going, what keeps, us able to pay bills and able to support the work that Chrism does. Recently, there was donations made to help support the site that is actually on the Yahoo group, and the donations that were sent for that purpose have really, really been helpful, because without them, that group would not have been able to continue. So thank you very much to everybody who donated for that specific purpose. Again, I will give you the donation place you can go to. It's www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com. And sometimes, you need a credit card or a PayPal account, and not everybody has one of those. So if you want to make a donation in some other manner, you can contact me either on my Facebook account, which is Suntara. Just, send a message to my inbox, or you can also contact me on kundalinimatters@gmail.com. And just to let you know that the Yahoo, if you're on the Yahoo group, the donate button does not work there. So please go to www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com. So there are my announcements. Just to leave everybody know, I'm back in Cork again, and I'm broadcasting from there after having a wonderful, wonderful visit with Chrism in the United States. Met some fantastic and beautiful Kundalini people, and I'm now processing and really appreciating all that, all my experiences, fantastic memories, all that I learned. And I'm very grateful to Chrism and to Francine, who owns the ashram, and to everybody that I met on my journey. So, yeah, that's me, Chrism. Looking forward to the show.
Well, thank you for your announcement, Santara. Right now I'm in this beautiful 1820s house that Brooke lives in with her dog. Huge home, big home. 4 stories?
3.
3 stories, with an ice cave. Everybody, boy, what a treat for a Kundalini active person who's always burning a little hot to just go out there into the ice cave and just relax with the ice.
Melt the ice.
Melt the ice, because right now it's 90 degrees in Pennsylvania and it's raining, so you can imagine it's 90 degrees, and it's about as humid as breathing steam. And we've been packing Brooke up and getting her ready to move out to the West Coast, where, of course, everything is milk and honey, and it's the grass is always greener over there. Anyway, yeah, this is the place where you have the battalions of Civil War entities that are crossing the highways. Typically, you'll see these at night. Truckers are reporting them. Just common motorists report them crossing the freeway. You see these ghostly battalions of soldiers in Civil War dress crossing the freeway. You go right through them. This is that area. This is also the area of extreme hardship with regards to the American Revolution and the many, many, many Native Americans that perished due to smallpox and other diseases that were brought over from Europe, and also of course, the actual American War of Revolution against Britain, and these types of scenarios that. You still feel it here. You don't necessarily have to tune into that channel. I know a lot of the folks who live here don't really have any kind of a big clue about that. Brooke, do you ever feel the voices of history as you?
Oh yeah. I do. I feel even in these. I have this beautiful basement here with these stones, built around, I think it was 1820. And you can hear the voices in these stones here. You can hear and feel all of it, and that's one of the reasons that drew me to the house. I know that you don't think that that's a good thing, but
well, and Brooke is referring to entities, and as many of you who have listened to the show before, I do not recommend initiating conversations with entities, because that begins a contract of communication with, and the contract is also a permission form to have unasked for conversations with entities, which can lead to a possession. And so, with regards to entities, and she has a very prominent entity here, a former slave woman, about 38 degrees. 38 years old. And
slave. Did you say that? Yeah, slave.
Yeah, she's a former slave woman and African American, and dressed in white, and she has just, this portion of her is just not left. But I don't see her causing harm. The harm, comes from other areas and other levels of entities, such as not so much the soldiers, though. The soldiers are not causing people problems. They just want to move on. And so before I leave, I'll be putting up a pillar of light, as I've done in Bosnia and Croatia, and back in the United States, in Georgia and Florida and Texas and Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, and over there in Santa Barbara, California, and other places around the world to help alleviate those that are in this endless bardo of existence, this wandering form of not being able to move on, being stuck. And of course, I understand that there are karmic implications here, but karma is often able to balance itself through certain human scenarios, and one of those scenarios is forgiveness of those who may have ended your life, and forgiveness of yourself for trying to end other people's lives. And you know, these things happen during wartime, and so these wandering battalions and these other entities, such as the slave woman here in the house, they receive an opportunity to move on through the gift of forgiveness, which is an exalted form of love. Something that I want to talk about later on in this program is expanding love beyond the accepted conditions that are culturally valued in this world. Where does love, such as where does love of a Kundalini nature begin and end, and how is that affected in our lives as Kundalini awakened people? But I'm going to go ahead and back up here. It is absolutely gorgeous in Pennsylvania. It really, I mean, they're just starting to unpollute the rivers. They're just starting to unpollute the streams, and they're just starting to take note of the different animal species that populate the area. Brooke has plenty of little cotton-tailed bunny rabbits, and she even has a mother with some baby bunnies. They're out in her yard, and there's of course many different birds that are here, many different fish. Brooke was telling me that she saw an albino trout that would hang out in a certain aspect of the river that flows right past her house here. So very, very beautiful. Starting to recover from, it seems, eons of environmental abuse here in Pennsylvania, although they still have a long, long way to go. There are some aspects of the natural life beginning to be restored, and so that's a good thing to see. And we see deer off on the sides of the roads and whatnot, so it's a good thing. There are also coyote around here, and so and fox, and they are able to make their living foraging and whatnot. So Pennsylvania, to all of you in Pennsylvania, God bless you and keep you healthy and happy in your lives right now. And so now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do this segue over to levels of love, levels of acceptance, levels of responsibility. Kundalini comes to people, but it doesn't belong to the person. Divinity is not owned by any one set or group or individual of people. And this comes to me straight through the Kundalini. Kundalini is itself a gift person, but it is a gift to be shared. And so, as Brooke has mentioned, and Magdalene has also mentioned in the past, as well as Amelia and Vashti and Rosemary and many other people who listen to this program and participate in this program, often say it's the reach into society. The reach into society. And how do we, as Kundalini awakened people, reach into society in order to change the basic structures of how people interrelate with each other? Well, we don't. We don't force change on people. We allow change through our example to occur. So, a lot of people, they come into the New Age movement and they're saying, well, I want peace on earth and goodwill to all men. And, of course, we understand that they mean women, too. And so they're kind of pulling from this patriarchal, cultural expression that we've had for the past 1,000 years. But yeah, they want everybody to have peace, and they want everybody to be nice to each other, and they don't want any more wars. And I just got to say that this is not practical. This is not why people are here. This is a level where people are allowed to live the karmic mechanism that they have instilled through their actions, through their thoughts, and through the thoughts and actions of those that they have lived with and lived around and been raised by. And so karma must be honored here. People must be allowed to become a soldier, even though they're the son or a daughter of a Christian minister. Onward Christian soldiers, such type of thing, and they've been brought up through the peace of Christianity, or the peace of Islam, or the peace of Buddhism, and yet they feel compelled to join an armed service so that they can go and live some of the karma that they are here to live through. And I place no judgment on that, but it's just a really good example of people coming to this world to relieve themselves of specific karmic burdens through participation in this world as it is designed and as it is sustained for people to do just that very thing. But with Kundalini, we are given great gifts of love. We are given great gifts of bliss, blissful love, connection to the supreme divine force on this world. And this supreme divine force has allowed people through its creation of this world to begin to meet their karma, to balance their karma, to balance the slate, to bring it back to tabula rasa, clean slate. And through that clean slate, well, then they also begin to approach and begin to develop their way into the Kundalini expression. And this is a love of great standing. This is the love of the divine for people who have become so enmeshed into physicality and the expressions of feeling and knowledge through physicality, i.e., the physical body, the emotional body, the psychological body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. And so these 5 expressions are honored on this world so that karma can be met, karma can be made, and the eventual refinement of the person can be sustained by that soul inhabiting different bodies as they work their way towards the divine expression, which is what many of you who are listening to this program right now have done. Santara has done. Brooke is doing. Magdalene is doing. Elliot is doing. Vashti is doing. MJ Henderson is doing. All, people who are Kundalini active or awakened, they are doing this work. So the question remains, how do we, as Kundalini awakened people, initiate love-based teachings, love-based kindness into this world? And one of the students said to me today a very profound statement. It's along the lines of heal yourself first of the iniquities and the imbalances and the karmic reverberations and stigma that follow you. And believe me, we all know that as a child, especially a Kundalini child, that child is going to go through many, many, many strenuous levels of karmic redemption as they grow into adulthood. And so as you have the Kundalini active within you, and as you've had the spinal sweep and you're in the awakening process, where does the fruit of that redemption lie within your heart? Where inside the anahata, the 4th chakra, are you most appropriately able to give into the population specific levels of healing or information or action upon many, many, many people that resonate with your Kundalini? And I have to say, it is through non-judgmental love, or unconditional love. You have to be able to spread your love as wide as divinity has done for you. How can you go through your life? How can you go through? I'm starting to get bliss here, so I may start shaking a bit. How can you go through your life? This is not a quid pro quo situation so much as it is a responsibility. The responsibility to lend that divine love through your body into the minds and hearts, ears and eyes and bodies of those around you. Just as you're getting fuel at the gas station or the fuel station, just as you go shopping in the market or in the grocery stores, or you stand in line to see the latest movie, your unconditional love rides the frequency of your radiance. But in order for it to do that, you must have it. You must engender it within yourself. You must recognize the necessity for it to be within you. Unconditional love isn't just something that's bestowed upon you, although with bliss and with the spinal sweep going into divinity, it is bestowed upon you. But it must be received by one who is willing to give it as well as receive it. The old adage, in order to receive, you must give, and in order to give, you must receive. And this is true in this case. You must forget your petty differences, your petty judgments about personalities or about job status or financial status or spiritual status or physical status. Is the person, are they paralyzed or do they have a different level of brain function than we do? Do they have a different level of expression through scholastic studies or, the many, many different ways that we judge each other harshly? This needs to disappear. There's a level of bliss that is associated with divine unconditional love that must be spoken of. It must be mentioned, because as you do this, you go into a state of euphoria, a state of samadhi, a state of grace that is beyond what filial love or romantic love or partnership-based love is. And certainly for those of you that have had the spinal sweep and you become one with every leaf, twig, piece of dust, animal, human, star, as you become at one with all of the creation of grace that grace has given us, you know intrinsically through that experience that divine unconditional love is the point and the I'm trying to find words here. It's the fulcrum for us to give divinity through us into the population. It's not about how we feel about, politics or the latest sports team or what our cultural values say is appropriate here, appropriate there, because we all know that Kundalini steps right over cultural taboos without a problem. It does not care. It does not care about the fears and taboos that our societies and our parents and our brethren and sistren have ladled out upon us over our years of existence on this planet. Kundalini has come to you, and so you step over those fears. You step over those blockages or through them. And you do not allow them to cloud the purity of the force that is flowing through you. Unconditional love is the way we are able to affect the populations of this world. And it doesn't come the way that that you would think. It's not like you don't have to be this grand orator. You don't have to be a famous actress or a famous actor or a great composer or some member of a rock band. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to be these things. Typically those people aren't Kundalini awakened. There's that whole self-aggrandizement rule. But some of them are. The scenario is that you, the individual, as you stand alone without being touted as the expert in this or the greatest in that or celebrated as the most profound of this or the most, the grandest person in that other field. It's about you standing alone at an intersection in a major city in the United States or any place in this world, all countries of this world. It's about you standing alone, pressing that walk button and waiting and radiating the radiance out from you, the radiance of divine love. Before my first seminar in Marin County, California, United States, one of the things that I would do just as a pastime, just as kind of an enjoyment, was I would ask my Kundalini if it was appropriate for me to create a wall of unconditional love that would go straight across the freeway in both directions. And that the people there would just feel whatever they are appropriately allowed to feel through divine guidance of that unconditional love as they drove through it, and it atomized itself through them. And I didn't need, somebody to pat me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, good job, Chrism. Wow, you're so nice, you're so healthy, you're so beneficial to all these people, and you don't really care." Well, I do care, but I just don't need the recognition. These are the true heroes, and these are the people of grace that surround us in this world. You can be a cop, you can be a homeless person, you can be a politician, a musician, a shoe shiner, a gas station attendant, a waitress, a teacher, owner of a mega company making billions of dollars. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're standing out there on that street corner, pressing the walk button, sending radiance of unconditional love out into the population. That is what matters. That is what matters. And you don't have to stand at a street corner. I'm not limiting to that. It can be anywhere you find yourself in this world. You can be just driving along the freeway and giving those blessings to every car you see up in the distance and every car you see in your rearview mirror. This is divine love. This is divine unconditional love that is being carried through your radiance, and it is dispensed by the divine within you. So you don't have to worry about, I can't read that person's karma, so I better not be nice. Because if I'm nice, then that may, work against the karmic responsibilities of that person. So I'm just not going to be nice, but I'm not going to be mean either. I'm just going to kind of be neutral and just show no care, no love, no aspect of my emotional recognition of this person is going to exist, because you don't need to do that. You just let your divine connection carry that divine unconditional love into anyone and everyone, and it's not just people. Carry it into the stone, into the plants, into the dirt, into the earth, into every living creation upon this world and out of this world. Santara.
Yes, Chrism?
You notice I didn't make any kind of a toilet comment. I just want you to know about that. This is a marker right now. Because we both know that they don't know how to make it. Would you kindly ask the chat room people if my words are being heard, or if I'm just kind of talking to a wall of I'm talking to a fireplace, basically.
I will. Well, Cole is laughing at that comment. Okay, people in the chat room, if you would just let us know if you can hear Chrism and if the sound is okay, that would be appreciated. So if somebody would type, yes, Cole says yes, you can be heard. So I think if you couldn't, any of the people would let us know, Chrism. So it sounds good to me as well.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to continue then. Let's look at the elements of this world. Does sunshine that falls upon your head and upon your shoulders and warms your heart, warms your body, grows the food, does it judge who should partake of sunlight and who shouldn't? Or does it just give of itself unconditionally? Does water that is falling from the skies in the beautiful state of Pennsylvania, does it decide who it's going to fall on and who it's going to miss? Does it judge on a condition how its grace is received and given into this world? No. The elements give unconditionally of themselves upon this world. Many of you know that the Shakti and the Shiva are part of the natural expression of the divine creation upon this world. So Mother Nature is a real deal. I mean, Shakti, Kundalini, or sacred feminine is that divine Mother Nature. Nature doesn't judge you. Only humans judge each other. Oh, do you follow this rule, or do you follow that law, or do you follow that taboo? Do you follow that fear? Do you follow that organizational structure or not? Do you follow that religious commandment or not? Do you follow this? Do you follow that? And if you don't, are you bad? Do you not deserve to live? Do you not deserve to have divine love given to you, even though the sun shines its rays on everyone? Water quenches everyone's thirst, allows us to eat the crops that are grown, allows the animals to live. Why can we not, as representatives of divine grace, reach into the populations of plants and bacteria and viruses and fungi and people and animals and air molecules with the same level of grace? These are expanded expressions of unconditional love. And it is God's gift of grace to you. And it is not intended to be just for you. Do you understand? I think we're going to get some doggy barks here. Dog barks are unconditional. They don't the sound of a dog barking or people talking. Do sound waves decide, Brooke didn't sweep the floor very well down here, so she's been a bad person today, so she just doesn't get to hear sounds anymore for a short time until she learns how to sweep the floor really good. So this doesn't work this way. Only humans create judgment, fear-based, taboo-based, conditional forms of love upon each other and upon the environment. But the Kundalini doesn't. The Kundalini is teaching you through its own actions upon you, through the actions of bliss and the actions of redemption and the actions of its phenomena upon you. It's teaching you how to be divine in how you unconditionally love everything and everyone on this world. Think about this. Think about this as you do your meditational practice. Where have I given unconditional love today? Who did I smile at? When did I just consciously walk through a mall or a hospital or a school or an intersection or a restaurant or a supermarket or an agricultural meeting place or a marketplace or a ship, a cruise ship, an airplane, when did I consciously give unconditional love to everyone in that area? And if I didn't, why didn't I? Why didn't I? And you're going to hear Minz. Minz is creating her bed right now. She's going through the pillows. She's getting it just right. Okay. So if you have any questions, I would like you to call this number, 347-934-0026. 347-934-0026. And because I'm calling in from an iPhone, which doesn't seem to understand Blog Talk Radio, or I don't understand Blog Talk Radio, or the iPhone, which is probably more the case, I'm going to swing it back to the city of Cork in the county of Cork in the country of Ireland, and bring Santara back on.
Hi, Chrism. I'm back on. I've asked people there in the chat room if they have a question to type in, so I will let you know if a question comes in.
I just don't want you to drift off so quickly, my dear.
Drift off where?
Anywhere. Just stay focused on what we're doing. I'm looking at a strange screen here on the iPhone. I'm not used to seeing it. I don't get any airtime or anything like that. I'm a guest just like any other guest.
Okay, I can let you know how things are going. 1 hour and 20 minutes left. We have a caller, so I'll go see who that is, and I'll get back to you. So, okay?
Please do. So does the caller have a question? So the caller must have a question because they're probably discussing it right now. Where have you Kundalini awakened people shut off your desire to be with other people, and why? Sometimes the telepathy can be so strong, the emotional telepathy can be so strong that it is mind-numbing in its effect upon a person. And for a time, I can understand that a person would need to take a break from large populated crowds and malls and some of the other populated areas that I mentioned. But once you come out of that, do you stick to that paradigm? Do you understand the idea of a flow of energy and the idea that Kundalini is changing you physiologically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually to be able to have and encompass an increased flow of energy so that you can give these graces into all creation? But I get it. Sometimes the Kundalini is just massive in its presence within a person, and it floors you. I've had this happen myself. I know exactly what I speak of. It literally throws you on the floor, and you just must surrender. And so I really want to cover that part next. Surrender is just as much a part of unconditional love, the gift of unconditional love into the populations and all creation, as is having the Kundalini in the first place, because you only get the Kundalini through surrender. You must surrender to the agenda that you may have been assigned by the Kundalini. And the Kundalini does not assign everybody with the exact same agenda. Let's get off of this whole cookie-cutter Kundalini expectation that we have. Oh my gosh, it's just like, well, the Kunalini will do exactly the same thing on everybody because the Vedic people say it so, or the Christian people say it so, or the shamanic people say it so, and it just isn't so. It's just not so. We come to this world with very different expressions of karma upon us. We come into this world with very specific lessons and expressions of redemption upon us. Brooks' karma is not Chrism's karma, is not Magdalene's karma, is not Santara's karma, is not Vashti's karma, is not Carlos's karma, is not anybody else's karma. We are unique in our oneness with the Kundalini. We are unique in our plurality within the Kundalini. And as you've heard me say on other shows, that we are singular and plural simultaneously. We are both sides of the Tao. We are that single coin that the Tao exists on both sides of, and we are the dual aspects of the Tao at the same time. Surrender to the force of Kundalini within you. Surrender to that beautiful, beautiful divine agenda that you have been blessed with having in this lifetime. This lifetime you are a saint. This lifetime you are a representative of divine will upon this planet, an emissary of divine light in real time. Not just going around with the King James Version of the good book going, here's the way. Thump on this Bible, touch my hand and be saved. Oh, bless the Lord. It's not about that. That's just somebody's religion. That's just somebody's belief system. Bless it. It's a beautiful belief system. It helps many people. But all belief systems, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, shamanism, they all help people come to where you are right now, Kundalini awakened. So it's not about that. It's not about proselytizing Kundalini either, by the way. A lot of people, they become so amazed by the Kundalini coursing through them that they just want to tell everybody about it. They feel so blessed by grace that they must speak. They're so enthused, and it's so beautiful to see, but it's not about proselytizing Kundalini. I tell you what, people who are not awakened do not want to hear about those who are. They do not want to hear the phenomena. Oh, giant snakes? Really? Wonderful. Oh, giant spiders that are as big as a car lowering themselves on you. Oh, wonderful. It's not, if you're coming at it from a person who is still in refinement, working through their redemption, working through their refinement, it's not the happiest thing to hear or to read. But it's amazingly profound. Amazingly profound. You are, in fact, an emissary of divine consciousness upon this planet. There is no other thing. There is no other way for you. If you have Kundalini, you have tried so many of the different belief systems that are around here. And it doesn't say that the belief system like Hinduism or Christian, whatever it is, can't push you into the next level of Kundalini. It most certainly can. But it isn't that, it doesn't mean that religion is the end-all, be-all for everybody. It just meant that religion was a doorway for your awakening to occur. And you don't even need a religion. There are people in this world that just get tagged for the Kundalini. I guess that's a Facebook term, tagged. Not quite sure what that means. Maybe it means mentioned. They get tagged by the Kundalini because their redemption and their evolution have allowed for that to occur unlooked for in this life. But the same scenario applies to them with regards to surrender. You surrender to the Kundalini. You surrender to that unique divine agenda that you have. And it doesn't mean that it's, I hear this a lot. Gosh, Master Chrism, I wasn't given any special skills. I'm I'm just normal here, serving people at a restaurant. Denny's, that has bacon-flavored ice cream. Yay. So no. You don't have to have, telepathy or levitation or to be able to throw white light or do any of these things. All you have to do is just be loving, unconditional, to everyone. Teachers are very interesting, elementary school teachers, because, all adults are just kids that are sort of grown up physically, but really not emotionally for the most part, and maybe way too much on the mental end of things and really not too much on the spiritual end of things, or way too much on the spiritual things and not too much on, the different gradients of our personal karmic evolution that happens. And so the teacher will stand up in front of like 30 kids. At least that's what it was when I was a kid, so a billion years ago. You'd get 30, 35, maybe even 40 kids in a classroom. And the teacher looks out over the classroom, and you have that opportunity right there to send unconditional love to every single student in the class. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous? So for all of you that are college students or teachers out there, and you're blessing those classes with your divine Kundalini radiance, blessings to you, and I thank you. I thank you for doing that beautiful, beautiful gift of service every day as you look at those beaming faces, beaming right back to you. Okay? Unconditional love happens all the time in our world. And you don't have to be Kundalini awakened to do it, but if you are Kundalini awakened, there is a certain level of responsibility that we have. And I'm not trying to push you into guilt if you haven't been doing it, or you may very well have many, many reasons for not doing unconditional love, and I'd like to hear about some of them. Let me hear some of those reasons for not having unconditional love.
Well,
hello.
Hi. The caller that's online is Jake.
Jake and Eleonora?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me know
Jake
when
put Jake on. I want to, because Jake knows about this.
Jake is on.
Hello, Jake.
Hi, Chrism. How are you? Eleanora's right next to me. We're on speaker here.
Yeah, hi, everybody.
I just
Eleonora.
wanted you to repent and turn to King James 22:33, and you'll be saved as long as you come into the Jersey section. What you're saying is great. Oh, I got a good Kundalini, a Shaktipat. We went to a thing for survivors this weekend. It was in D.C. My friend lost his son in Iraq 10 years ago, so we went for support. It's really a good thing. Anyway, in one of the sessions, one of the young women was talking about, she was a yoga teacher. She went back to the Ganges, and, that's very popular for relieving karma, certain parts of the river. She was up near the Himalayas. So she sat in the river, a lot of people around her, the deal. And she felt her husband, and so he had already been deceased from one of the wars, and he wrapped his arms around her, came through her heart, and that was her Shaktipat. What a person, But anyway, that is the deal. We are so glad to hear you and what you're saying, and it's just right what we need to hear, as usual.
Well, Jake, you are an ambassador of unconditional love. Please tell the audience a little bit about your history as a soldier in the United States Army and what you have done subsequently with veterans, with the elderly, with people that are having really, really, really hard times. What have you been doing with your life, Jake?
Well, selling marijuana, really, mostly, but no, only kidding. You know, everything is a joke because I'm more Irish than Amelia there. You know, she thinks she's Irish. But anyway, I'm so blessed in my life to be able to help. You know, I was addicted and really bad post-traumatic stress, and I fought through it, and then I went back to school, undergrad and grad, and got a degree. What else could I do? But, you know, helping with post-traumatic stress and substance abuse. So I did that professionally for quite a while, and I still do a lot of that counseling in AA and NA. And, you know, just I'm visiting nursing homes these days, helping out in Ukraine and here with veterans and the poor. And, you know, it's nonstop. It's nonstop. You know, that's why we were in D.C. with our friend for support, because she's very fragile. And we figured we'd go with her for support for this deal. And, you know, I'm wide open to, you know, help anybody for sure. You know, so
what compels you? What compels you to do this, Jake?
Oh, I don't know. Even before I became a quote Christian, I was always helping people, and then it got a little easier when I started to believe in you know, a power greater than myself. You know, put it that way. And, you know, I was just always compelled to do that, even in the military, you know, and it's just part of, I guess it was my Irish Catholicness, you know, maybe, whatever. It was my mother's training. Oh, Lil Carney. I love her to this day. You know, and she's where I got my humor, because even though we were poor, she always had something funny to say. You know, so I was even at the Pentagon this weekend. I didn't think I could go in there. We had a tour, and they invited us, and they said, welcome home. So I went to the car to get my bags to bring them in so I could live there. But they said, no, you can't do that, you know. But I was talking to generals and this and that, you know, and you know. And everybody, you know, so we had a little bit of fun, and it was the most cheerful place I ever was at in my life. But you know, really, I wouldn't stress it too long, you know.
Well, Jake, it's very, very nice to hear your voice and Eleanor's voice, and to really to feel the joviality and the amusement and the laughter and the joy that you constantly give into the populations. I've driven with you. I remember Santara put together the seminar in upstate New York, and, you know, you're just a beaming light of grace upon everyone, and I know you don't like to hear that, and that goes hand in hand. I mean, you have the Kundalini, Jake. You know, you may not be flying around on you might be flying around on a jet. But I don't know that you're smoking too much marijuana anymore, but you give a lot of happiness everywhere you go, and happiness is also unconditional.
Yeah, for sure. I'm blessed to be able to do it. I'm blessed to be able to do it. You know, really.
You bless the people, and Eleonora, she blesses you, and the team that you and Eleonora make as you travel through the populations, you spread happiness, you spread joy, and you know, and Eleonora, you know, and her family in Ukraine, you spread your grace there too, because I know that even though they're not in the news right now, they're having a hard time. And you don't go through that type of abuse and come out of it, you know, without some hurt. And so I'm really, really, really happy to hear that you're reaching out to the soldiers, to the vets, to the families, to Eleonora's family in Ukraine, as well as the people out here in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania. So it's beautiful to hear your voice, Jake.
Thank you. Oh, buddy, great to be talking with you and to hear your voice. And Skype me after the thing. I think you have my Skype right. Maybe we'll get together for. Are you going to be in Pennsylvania a while? Are you leaving right away in the mornings?
No. We're going to be here for Thursday, and so if Thursday works for you, maybe we can have lunch or dinner.
Wait, for lunch. Wait, to go.
All right.
First part of the day.
Yeah, we're all right. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Skype me later after the program, and we'll figure it out. Okay. Great.
Sounds
we'll
good, Jake.
Hang up and listen to you. It's beautiful. We're back on the net, and hello to everybody. And we'll talk to you soon, old buddy. Talk to you later.
All right.
See you,
Thank
Jake.
you,
Bye-bye. Chrism, and there's... Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, there's a conversation. You're after fading a little bit. Can you just do a sound test again?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's better. Okay.
Well.
That's fine. Okay, so you were asking the question about what would be, the reasons for not doing unconditional love. And so there were some comments made. Fashchi says fear would be a reason that stops unconditional love. And Mary Jean says, about unconditional love, I feel that if you are dealing with a sociopath, psychopathic personality, that it's better to love from a distance. Some fear is healthy. And Phil Karuba says, I'm practicing to walk directly into my fear. Tightening the solar plexus helps to change the fear response. And those were the comments.
Oh, very nice, especially that last one. Very good. We're surrounded by sociopaths. Jeez Louise. They're sociopathic animals.
Chrism, your sound is wavering a bit, so if you could
how
keep
about
it
now?
steady. It's a bit distant.
How about now?
Distanter.
How about now?
Getting warmer.
Oh my God, do I have to eat the mic?
That's better. Thank you.
Yeah. We're surrounded by sociopaths, and so you can't really escape them. They're part of the population, and so unconditional love. As I think Mary Jane suggested, you can give unconditional love to sociopaths as well as any kind of a path. When it comes to describing a human behavior. I mean, a sociopath, a psychopath. I mean, you can give unconditional love, and you just might change that whatever pathic behavior that they have. Is the sound coming? I'm eating the mic right now, so I don't want to, fuzz it out.
Yeah, it's wavered again there, but now you're after getting better again. I think eating the mic is necessary. I tell you, Chrism, if it's not okay.
Okay, well, eating the mic is the way it is then. So fear is not. What are we just going to live our life through fear? And I know, Fashchi. I know Fashchi well enough to know that he doesn't live his life through fear, and so yeah, fear can be a blockage, but do we allow it to block our path? And if we are allowing it, why are we allowing it? And I like what the other gentleman said about just walking straight into your fear. With the Kundalini, many times a person will be confronted with a powerful, ferocious animal or creature that is, 10 times its normal size, and it's looking at you like you're going to be the next breakfast or dinner or lunch for it. And it doesn't matter where you run. You can't get away from it. It will chase you. And so when you turn around and you walk right in to that creature's mouth and say, have a nice bite, and you come out the other side with everything being changed, there is no fear that a person cannot get through. And so fear is really just a way of facing your own refinement, facing levels of your own redemption. so that you can have the gift, giving unconditional love into the population. There is no need, and you don't have to go, you can, but you don't have to go right up to an individual person and furrow your brow and go, excuse me, ma'am, I'm just giving you some divine love right now. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Sorry about that. You just look out over a whole and you radiate it. It's not something that you're like beaming on, narrow focused on each, individual. You just ask your divine Kundalini to give it to everyone who can have it according to the appropriateness that divinity feels is necessary. That takes you out of the judgmental system. That takes you out of the conditioned love gift and makes it unconditional. There is no reason. I'm going to answer my own question here. There is no reason ever to not give unconditional love to everyone and everything in your life right now. There is never a reason. Fear of loss and want of gain are not good enough. Not for Kundalini people. We have come a long ways. We've lived many, many lives. We've been husbands, we've been wives, we've been sisters, we've been brothers, we've been single, we've been attached to people. We've gone through the mill. Now it's time to give the grace of the divine unconditionally into this world. This world needs it really bad right now. Sort of. There's always divine balances going on in this world. But the more we can give of our grace into the populations, the better things will move into the populations. The more karma will be balanced, and the more karma that is balanced, the more love that is given. You'll never stop people from having war. Forget about that. People need to go through their karma. You don't get to eradicate mechanisms of karmic redemption upon this planet. This planet is for that too. But you can change. By divine grace, unconditional love, you can change the mechanisms of meeting that redemptive karma. By that I'm saying they don't have to create more bondage, more karma into their lives and the lives of others.
Chrism, I'm going to the studio to speak to a caller, so I don't want you going, Amelia, and I'm not being there, so you're being heard, so please continue.
Thank you, Santara. Thank you. How we treat each other is so amazingly important. How we treat our environment is so amazingly important. I was traveling around Pennsylvania, and I'm looking, at the different agricultural things going on, and the biotechnology keeps rearing its really, really challenging head everywhere. Human beings, based upon their greed, based upon wanting that dollar, wanting that pound sterling, wanting that euro, wanting that real. They forget about the environment, forget about the sanctity of the land, forget about the holy purpose of providing sustenance for other people. Forget about that. We just want to get rich. Takes you right out of the natural world. Give divine unconditional love into the populations, that they too may begin to see the value of the natural environment, the value of the creative forces that have come together on this world in order to give you a chance to refine yourself beyond greed, beyond that want of gain and that fear of loss. Get out of that equation. Move yourself consciously away from creating equations of judgment upon others that, like revenge or holding a grudge. He hurt me, therefore I'm going to stay angry at this person forever. She hurt me, therefore I'm going to stay angry at this person forever. She said that. He said this. They said that about us. Move beyond those equations. Kundalini can help you do this. You have God's hand upon your shoulder, and you can even hear God's hand moving that paperwork around.
You're really you're. Well, I'm back on. I just want to welcome Dr. Jan. That was Dr. Jan. She was popping in to listen, so she's joining us late, but she's just listening there on air. So hi, Dr. Jan.
Hi, Dr. Jan. Dr. Jan.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, so Centauri, have you collected any questions?
Well, yes. First of all, I'd also like to say hello to Knowing Star Woman. She has joined us in the chat room, and this is her first show with you, Chrism, and she is delighted to be there.
And a hello to you, Miss Star Woman. Nice for you to join us. Thank you.
She's 100 miles from Philly and about 45 minutes or so from the capital of Harrisburg. And was wondering, were you anywhere near there? Would like to meet you.
We are in Easton. You can tell her. He's putting the mic down my throat. We're in Easton, Pennsylvania. So I'm not quite sure how far that is from there, but I know it's not right around the corner.
Okay. Well, there is a question here in relation to what you were speaking about, Chrism, and it's from, it's from Cole. And hi, Cole. It was great meeting you at the seminar in Washington in person. So here we go. The question is, I have to scroll up and down, and it keeps moving. 1 second, Chrism. Where is it gone? Okay. By what mechanism? It's gone again. This happens sometimes in the chat room. It just moves. Okay, it's coming again. By what mechanism is a human born or made sociopath? Someone who doesn't have a sense of morality or social conscience. I know that a sociopath raised in a loving environment can give them pro-social tendencies, but it disappeared again. But they still don't feel guilt. So he's asking you to reply to that, Chrism.
Well, not exactly a Kundalini subject matter, but sociopaths are made. Sociopaths are made, and some of them are possessed by discarnate entities of a very low moral grade. Some of them are created through the means of chemistry by giving kids drugs that tie them into fairly abusive formats of entertainment. Some of them are made through having trauma inflicted upon them. I mean, if they're a child and they're sexually molested over and over and over for their whole life and nobody's ever caught, well, you've just created a sociopath or a psychopath. So I mean, these are not accidental things, but they are part of the social environment of current Western society. And so they have to be dealt with too. And they are, of course, deserving of unconditional love that the Kundalini has to provide, just as any other form of human being or animal, plant, mineral, virus, fungi is also deserving of the same respect for its creation and its creator.
Okay, thank you, Chrism. I do have some questions, actually, that I've gathered. So will I go and get those? I have them here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Oh, okay. And Knowing Star Woman says, Easton is about an hour from me. It is near Allentown. So, which means absolutely nothing to me, but I'm just passing on the message. Okay. Cole says, thank you, Chrism, for that response. So now the first question is, and I'm just letting you know that there are 46 minutes left. I keep thinking about the Kundalini and the times that I feel I am on fire and so much energy flowing, and then times when it feels so low. What causes these highs and lows? Could I ask you about it? And also there's a second question. So, and that's from Diva Sadvi.
She obviously doesn't have an ice room to come into, you see. Over here,
Lucky
you have
Brooke.
an ice room.
I could do with one of those, Brooke.
Yes, she doesn't have an ice room. You need a Kundalini ice room, or what was her question again? She's having a problem?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll read it again. She may be talking energetically on fire rather than, literally hot, but I'll read it again and see what you think. It's from Diva Sadvi. I keep thinking about the Kundalini and the times that I feel I am on fire and so much energy flowing, and then the times when it feels so low. What causes those highs and lows?
Oh, well, the pulse of Kundalini causes those highs and lows, and the fact that she doesn't have an ice room. So yeah, the Kundalini will trade off. It'll go cold sometimes. It'll go hot sometimes. It's the sacred male and the sacred feminine converging and sometimes taking turns converging upon the body, expanding the DNA, expanding its transformational approach to the cellular systems. And sometimes those transformational approaches are going to have an attendant temperature variation upon them. And so it's important that you look upon that and you give up your struggle trying to stay warm. Stay as warm as your body used to need to stay warm, or as cool as your body used to stay cool. And don't tie into having the same appreciation, physical appreciation of hot or cold temperatures as you once had. Kundalini changes it. Like for me, I run pretty hot most of the time, and really hot when I'm in Pennsylvania and it's raining and it's 90 degrees. It's very hot for me then. And but with Deva Sadhvi, you don't want to try to reclaim normalcy. You realize and you accept what the Kundalini has brought to you as part of its divine gift upon you. Part of its divine gift upon you. And allow that to be as it is, rather than wishing and trying to make it be as it was.
Okay, thank you, Chrism. Next question. So, in the Kundalini world, is there a tier, T-I-E-R, ones who have had Kundalini for a while at the top, or ones who have had more energy at the top?
Well, you'd have to have a lot more tiers than this too. No, there are not tiers. Certainly not in a competitive, phenomenological way. A person, as I mentioned, the waitress that has no Kundalini gifts can still give divine love, divine unconditional love. I mean, that's given through us as a choice. It's a choice and an opportunity to come into a greater level of divine expression where those you could reach a level of expression that would indeed become or transform itself into a divine gift. As far as tears kind of suggest competition. And, one who's got a lot of energy, well, they're over here. Well, now, if you're taking it out of a competitive nature, well, then you have definite areas of expression that correspond with, having the two examples that she stated, but also having more examples and different mixtures of examples. And so I'm going to say all the tiers, they're on the same level. Nobody's tier is greater or better than another tier. But the tiers, that's kind of it doesn't really make sense to me within a Kundalini context. Tiers are not really, Kundalini isn't organized in tiers.
Okay. Thank you, Chrism.
Yeah, thank you.
So the next question is, just fixing my chair, it's from Tanya. She says, when Kundalini first activated, it cut my sex drive dead, and that was fine for a while. Then a few weeks ago, it came back very strongly. I thought about looking for a mate again, but I don't want that. I was confused about the strong desires in my body and not wanting to go against what is meant for me, but also really not wanting the distraction of looking outside myself for completion. So now I feel like I have chosen not to go that route, but I have all the sexual energy and I just don't know what to do with it. I feel like it may come out inappropriately if I don't deal with it. I'd be grateful for any advice, please.
Don't deal with it. Don't try to control it. In many cases, Kundalini will come into a form of constant bliss that feels like you're constantly on a low electrical level of orgasm. Okay? So you constantly have a patina or a thin coating of energy all over the body that is emanating potential orgasm all the time. This is a very powerful place to be for the Kundalini activated or awakening individual. This is a very, very good place to be. This is a good place to begin to use sexual energy in a very, very different way, in a very creative way, in a very profoundly creative way. This allows you to start a new project, see it to fruition, and finish it. It allows you to create your reality in a very profound way. It allows you to create substance from not so much substance, building a building out of straw bales, or and then this is an actual building technique, that it's an environmental practice. You use straw bales as insulation factors in the walls of a house. This is a very creative time for a person to have, and a lot of people, they have a hard time. They have a very hard time separating themselves from that sexual fruition. They feel the urge, and because they feel the urge, they feel that they must orgasm it. They must bring that urge into an orgasm. And if you're a man, that means the sperm and semen are released, and that which is residual is encouraged to reproduce and replace itself within the person. For the woman, it's an expression of wanting to have that place filled within them, and wanting to feel that orgasm, wanting to have that occur, wanting to bring it to fruition. And what I'm going to suggest that this person does, because the sexual vitality and the sexual expression is being manipulated by Kundalini, is to not try to control it with the ego. Do not masturbate. Do not try to bring it into an artificial form of fruition. Allow it to help the Kundalini practice. Allow it to help the opening to guidance. Allow it to help the gifting of unconditional love into the population. That is a very good place to be for that. Over.
Whoops, that was very abruptly over. I was typing, sorry. Thank you very much, Chrism. There's a question here on the chat room that I'll go to now. It's from Knowing Star Woman. Chrism, one night I woke up very hot with an incredible vibrating energy running the length of my body and head. I was really scared and told it to stop, which it did after demanding it several times. Was this Kundalini?
It could be. That is one of the phenomena of that the Kundalini will take. It can also be an entity. You know, if this person is associated with channeling or with mediumship or divination, where entities are used in order to bring specific information into the knowledge of the person. And so ask her if she has done any of those things.
She can hear you. Will you type back, Knowing Star Woman, if you have done any of those things, please? Can I ask a question about it, Chrism? It
Yes.
would be, would Kundalini typically, and I suppose I don't know if you can answer this, respond with backing off when one is asked?
Say again?
You know, she said that she asked several times and then it stopped.
Yeah, you see,
I'm
that's
just wondering,
the
would
thing.
Kundalini wouldn't tend to do? Yeah.
Do we as Kundalini activated or awakening individuals say, I command thee, Kundalini, thou shalt not rise upon my spine? Well, no. The Kundalini will do what it wants to the individual rather than what the individual wants it to do or not do with them.
She says, no, I do not channel or work in that way.
Ask her if she uses entities in any kind of way. Is she using, cosmic forces, or she's got a Star Woman type name, so that there's some sort of a connection to a type of engaging other forces of life or the cosmic forces.
Okay, again, she can hear you, so I'm sure she is typing.
So go ahead with the next question.
She just says no, Chrism, no.
Well then, you might look at the Kundalini and definitely look at the Kundalini awakening safety protocols. I think that this force that came up within you could be very well an invitation from the divine force within you to begin to explore opportunities of acceptance and surrender to the divine force within her. That may be inviting her into this amazing transformation. And so, Miss Star Woman, I would definitely look at the Kundalini Awakening Safety Protocols. I'd begin to practice them twice daily and begin to work with your forgivenesses, begin to work with your gratitudes, begin to work with your tolerance, your patience, your honesty, your compassion, your consideration for others, your service, your selfless service for others. Begin to really express yourself along those lines I just mentioned, and see if that energetic expression repeats itself or in some way materializes again. That would be my suggestion to you.
Okay, thank you. And maybe if I could just ask Helly, because you're there typing, Helly, could you give the link there to the safeties for Knowing Star Woman and to the Kundalini safeties? Would you be able to do that now, please? That would be really helpful. Thanks, Helly. The next question is, I remember you saying in one of your videos, Chrism, that we can have mental, emotional and psychological ego kriyas, along with the physical kriyas. Can you elaborate as to how an ego and a mental kriya will present themselves? What will you actually think or say to yourself? I feel I understand the physical and emotional ones when they come on, but wondering if what I am also having are mental and ego kriyas. And that is from Laurie.
Okay, so
that's from Laurie.
Hi, Laurie. Is Laurie listening?
No, this is just one of the ones that was sent in to me.
So ego-related kriyas would be where the ego spontaneously dominates a person and forces them to accept its will. And so, but that wouldn't, the ego doesn't really get to have kriyas. You understand? The ego is the one aspect of the 5 bodies of human expression don't really get to have kriyas, because the ego is kind of always present. It has its fingers into every other body of expression that the person has, with slightly less of an expression through the spiritual body, because the spiritual body is here and there at the same time. So ego kriyas, not so much, but emotional kriyas, most certainly. Wherever you're, if you're frustrated, you scream out in anxiety or anger, well, there you go, emotional kriya. Another emotional kriya would be, just having absolute happiness and joy for no reason whatsoever. Things that we would call blissful would be also come under the heading of an emotional kriya. Mental kriyas, severe sharpness of intellectual aptitudes, severe sharpness of the ability to cogitate or to think or to really find levels of answers that have to do with strong mental applications of knowledge, or mental applications of figuring out something, or using something in a very mental way to allow the car to run, or the factory to run, or the airplane to fly, things of that nature. Spiritual kriyas, well, that kind of combines with an emotional kriya, because it would be that supreme drive to be a spiritual person, to be devotional, to be able to give into the unknown all that is within a human to give, and to trust that gift is being given in a way that is helpful to the individual, but also helpful to society at large. So these are different qualities of kriyas. Most of the kriyas, however, will happen on the physical body and the emotional body. Mental kriyas, you may have a language. You may, these are what I call downloads. I call emotional or mental kriyas are like downloads of information that you haven't had to study for. So if I had to study trigonometry, then I could just boom, the Kundalini downloads it into your brain, and trigonometry. Or boom, you've never written a poem in your life, and all of a sudden you're writing poems till the cows come home, because you're having that download occur. Okay, these kriyas can be very, very productive, and so I will encourage her to have those kriyas and to give them a place for manifestation within her life without becoming overly attached to that manifestation. Over. Anybody there?
I'm back. I'm back. I was talking with somebody on the list. No, don't say it. Resist. Yes. I was speaking with someone on the phone. So going to ask the next question before you can even say the word of where I was. I am so emotional, I can't stop crying. I know it is an emotional kriya, but I really don't know how to handle it. I feel so sad all the time and have been crying for days. I don't feel I am working through any specific issues. It's just hours and hours of crying. My skin is also very pimply and my face is red and sore and I cannot go out because of it. I try and surrender but keep wondering when will it end, which is not really surrendering. And now I am crying again. Anonymous.
Okay, Anonymous. Crying occurs as a purge system. It allows the system to purge energy as well as emotion. And this is where people get a little bit confused, is when they're purging energy. It's the same thing as the ayahuasca. When you're dry heaving from ayahuasca, you're purging energy. When you're crying without any kind of emotional connection, you're purging energy. But you can also be purging that energy in order to open up channels of bliss. Okay? And so if you're purging energy, just let it purge. Don't try to handle it. Let it handle you. Let it purge itself through you. You do not need to try to control this force. You let it do what it needs to do. It's a natural force. It knows exactly what to do upon your system. So you let it purge. And was there another question to that? Hello?
No, Chrism, there wasn't. No, that was the question. There is a dream that was written by MJ on the group. Will I read that?
Is it G-rated?
Let me see. No.
For general audiences?
It's for general audience. I will read the actual comment from the group. It's from MJ. She says, "Thank you, Chrism. I now have a mantra running around in my head. It took me by surprise yesterday morning. In one of your videos, you sing a chant, 'I am one with Source.' I haven't even seen it recently, but now it pops up regularly to keep me company. Also, I am once again having meaningful dreams. Last night I woke up and said to myself, oh wow, I must remember this. And in the dream, I was sitting at my computer, as I often do, when suddenly there was a flash and the computer went out. And there was some activity happening inside my head, and my body was affected also. I can't describe it, but I thought, inside the dream, maybe this is a kriya, but then decided it wasn't. I don't actually know what it was, but it doesn't matter. After 46 years on this trip, I accept whatever it was is beneficial, especially since the mantra returned again today. In the dream, I then went into some sort of community center and had pieces of beautiful wood, which I didn't know what to do with. So I started putting them in place to figure it out. And then I went to leave, but got lost because the place was bigger than I thought, several floors. I then got more pieces of wood and returned. This is close as I can remember. Now I saw that there were other people with pieces of wood also, and in one spot there were two men, and the younger one was helping the older one with some sort of floor exercises. So I began to see what the wood was for and began placing my pieces. Next, a woman approached me and seemed to want to do some healing for me or something, and I turned to her and was able to help her also. I am wondering if this is to be continued because I sure would like to know what happens next. So I suppose I'm just asking it as well in terms of, the symbolism and the Kundalini symbolism that might be in that dream for MJ, if you see it for her.
Well, what happens next is kind of a broad spectrum question. Anything can happen next. There's no parameter saying, okay, because she has had this, and that happen, therefore, something must happen next that falls under a specific heading. Anything can happen next with Kundalini, with this. And so that's what I would do, is I would prepare for anything to happen. And I would be very astute and diligent in my astuteness to be able to recognize where that anything that can happen falls into my priority zone. Where does it fall into my watching myself have the Kundalini process? Where does it fall? What does it mean? It doesn't mean that anything must happen. Over.
Okay. What about the pieces of wood that she's gathering, and the two men that are there and they're doing exercises, floor exercises, and that does.
Okay. Well, that part, collecting pieces of wood, collecting earth, collecting aspects of the sacred, divine, feminine, and people doing movements on the beach would be that. It could be that she's being given communication to do some more of a grounding type of protocol for her and her Kundalini in her life.
Okay. Thanks, Chrism. So that's the end of the questions. There's 21 minutes left, but I don't have any more questions today. Let me check the groups. There are no other questions on the groups either, Chrism. On the chat room, I should say. Pardon me.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, then I'm going to end this program a little bit early. I'm really hungry, and so I need to go out and fill the fuel tank here to some degree. And Brooke has decided to allow me to do that, and she'll be driving me to somewhere here in Pennsylvania. And we'll get some food. And so I want to thank everyone for joining me today, joining me tonight. Really look to why you will not or cannot feel that you can give unconditional love into the populations. Really look at that equation inside your mind, inside your heart. What could possibly limit the amount of divine, unconditional love expressed through your heart into the populations and the environment of this world? Is there any justification for not allowing that to come through you into others? Amelia and John O'Connor and all the O'Connors in Ireland, I would like to thank you for this gift of information about the Kundalini awakening expression and experience given this day to everyone who's willing to listen. I would like to thank for those who are listening live and in the chat room. Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening. I would like to thank everybody who's listening in the archives. So you future people, thank you for listening. I would like to thank Brooke and her little dog, Minz, who you just heard shaking, for their excellent hospitality here in the great state of Pennsylvania. I would like to thank Jake and Eleonora for calling in and helping us know what it is from Jake's perspective of giving service into the population, giving that unconditional love for anyone who needs it, whether they're psychopathic or not. I'd like to thank Cole and Vashti and everybody, Miss Starwoman. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat group for participating, and I wish you all a very beautiful, happy, healthy radiance of divine love given into you this day. And I'd like to thank Centaur, you, for being my most excellent co-host and for your wonderful visit with me here in the state of California in the United States. And a thank you to Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez and her husband Al for creating the seminar in Kundalini at the Castle, and for Eileen Laurel and Bruno and Sailboat Mike for creating and helping to create the next seminar that may be occurring in Florida. Thank you, everyone. And Santara, I will count on you to press that beautiful red button.
Will do. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week
Bye-bye.
at the same time. Bye-bye.